Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, of course, came out recently. Two not so stellar critic reviews, but in terms of audience reviews, pretty good. And of course, I am an audience as I watched the movie. But this is the sequel to Afterlife, and I don't know how many sequels from the original Ghostbusters. But of course, let's get to the point now, because certain comments are like, I don't get to the point, even though I literally said it in like the first 5 minutes. It's a good movie, okay? It's a good movie, okay? If you want to stay later for what I think I didn't like, we could do better, whatever. But if you stay, that's on you. But anyways, it's a good movie. It's very funny. This guy, which we'll talk about him later, he's technically part of the good part of the plot, but also not. But he's hilarious. I heard he's an actual comedian, so that makes sense. But yeah, he's technically the funniest guy in the movie. Everyone else, their comedy, not really for me. But this guy's something. But of course, the plot of Frozen Empire is that an ancient demon that was guarded by, of course, the funny guy, and his family was released, right, or is going to be released, anyways. And if the demon, that's right, they ain't even ghosts no more. They straight up just demons that he will freeze over the earth and, of course, take over it, right? Obviously, with this legion of monsters, right? But of course, they put a stop to it with the firebender, whatever the hell that guy is, and all that stuff, right? Because, well, now we're going to get to the more complicated stuff. So I said it, good movie, very funny, would recommend watching it, unless the comedy doesn't work. Because everything else, it needs some work, you know? But you will definitely enjoy it, right? But, of course, it starts off with the last encounter of the demon, which was back in like 19 something, right? And firemen were called to a scene where a bunch of rich people capture it, or not capture him, but release him. And we see a guy dressed in this armor, as the new guy is dressed later on, where he recaptured the monster, which, first of all, that is another weird thing. These are nitpicks at this point, okay? This isn't an actual thing that made me turn off from the movie. But in the explanation of the demon, they say that a bunch of firebenders, or Ghostbusters at the time, came out and captured him, right? But it's just one guy this time. So, like, and also one guy later on, but that dude had some help as well. But, like, I don't know, maybe that dude's OP as hell, right? But, of course, it gets sealed off and given to the descendant, who for some reason, did not know that they're firebenders and need to keep track of the demon. Because, you know, the grandma keeps it in the, I think, brass little closet where it cannot hear anything and cannot communicate with anything else. But, of course, since he does not know what it is, and he says, oh, this looks cool, I'm going to go sell it. And he sells it, right? But whatever, that's his own thing. And we do get another plot, kind of subplots, where the kid, Trevor, right, you know, has to deal with his own ghost problem, because he talks about how he's an adult now, which is kind of funny in its own right, but whatever. Right, and it's the fat green one, right? Weirdly enough, because I don't want to talk it like it's chronological order, this dude is not controlled by the demon lord, right? The frozen demon. Because the demon can control a bunch of ghosts, but not the green fat one. I don't know, maybe because he's a different color. I don't know, maybe he's racist or something. But that's his own thing. Of course, Phoebe, of course, has her own plot, being that she's young as hell. She's like, what, I think 15 in the movie, right? And obviously the mayor does not think too kindly of a 15-year-old out fighting ghosts out of a moving car. So, like, obviously that makes sense. And I hate the plot, because it's the whole, oh, how dare you not see me as an adult? Because you're not an adult, okay? You're 15 years old. What are you doing shooting lasers out of a car? What's wrong with you? You could wait 3 years. 3 years, too, is not that long. We're already in month number 3 of 2024. It's going by relatively quickly. Not even, we're in the 4th, right? It's going relatively quickly. And you can't wait 3 years to go shoot ghosts and all that stuff. It's not like these are powerful ghosts. I mean, the opener was like some weird sewer dragon, which is so weird, because you have sewer dragons, fat green ghosts, and they also got a legitimate human ghost. Like, human ghosts exist in this world too, which we are shown in the movie. We'll talk about that later, right? But the whole thing is like, oh, I'm grown, I'm gonna go do my own thing. Bro, you're not Miles Morales. You ain't got no powers. Go home. Draw. Like they say, go make mistakes. And she does make a mistake, and a very bad one, but we'll talk about that later. But of course, they end up doing their own thing. And they also have the original Ghostbusters more in this movie, which is weird because, you know, it's kind of like the same thing that they did with Afterlife, where in the Frozen Empire, they have the original Ghostbusters, kind of like, not the mainstay of the trailer, but they're definitely in there for quite a bit of time. Same thing with Afterlife with Paul Rudd. He was in the trailers and the marketing so much, and he barely was in the movie. The difference is there was actually one original Ghostbusters that's in the movie a lot, and that's of course Ray Stantz, also known as Dan Aykroyd or Aykroyd, right? He's pretty good. He's pretty funny. Bill Murray, I think he's old. He's been old, so I don't blame him. But every time he's on screen, there's no emotion behind him. But I get it. He's like 71 at this point. He's old as hell. So like that says a lot. He's old as hell. So I don't blame him. But damn, he kind of turns me off in the scenes when he appears. It's like, oh, bro. But like I said, he's old. I don't blame him. But like, maybe don't have him there. I'm just saying. But he's good for people who do like him. He does have one funny scene. I'll tell you that. So he's not all bad. He's also not really bad. But whatever. But of course, the whole plot of how he gets escapes, because everything else is just, oh, we're gonna have to go fight ghosts. We're gonna do this. Of course, it's Phoebe, Ray, and the podcast kid. Weirdly enough, he's pretty funny as well. But yeah, but the whole plot is that Phoebe obviously feels like she's grown enough, so she goes to try to find the secrets of the Demon King, which inadvertently causes his escape. Why? Because we have the actual ghost woman who appears, right, and Phoebe befriends her, right? The difference is, it's weird. Their scenes are weird. I don't know. There's too much empty space. There's too much quietness, if that makes sense. Like, they stare at each other for like a couple seconds every once in a while. Remember, they're like, did they really need to have this in the movie? But anyways, they befriend each other to the point where Phoebe, for some reason, can suck her own soul out, because they have this whole machine where they poltergeist something from an object, takes out the ghost, right? And of course, the objects are found by, of course, Ray Starts, or whatever the hell that dude. Ray. We're just going to call him Ray. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But that dude has a podcast, of course, with the podcast kid. Weirdly enough, they don't have a name for him. But they find it, right? But that's besides the point. Now I'm getting at a tangent. Now I get what he means by get to the point. But anyways, she sucks her own soul out. Why? Because a demon can only control ghosts. So obviously she controls Phoebe, makes her talk the incantation that he needs to release himself. And he does. Weirdly enough, that is an actual legitimate, not concern, but a legitimate thing I have to say. The ice demon appears in the last quarter of the film. And he doesn't really show how menacing he is. I mean, kind of he does, because it shows Trevor's girlfriend attempt to fight him after, Phoebe released him. Or her. I don't know what the demons is. But it literally freezes the plasma beams, which is, first of all, cool. I like that. The design of the Frost Demon definitely is really cool. And the way he just freezes the plasma beams. Why? Because his cold is, as they say, absolute zero, where literally nothing moves. So obviously he can freeze things solid, and it makes sense, right? But his weakness is copper, or bronze, or brass, weirdly enough. But they end up fighting in the last quarter of the film, and he gets defeated. Why? Because the fireman finally figures out how to actually control fire. Right, and he controls fire, and they capture him. Right, he's in the movie, and I like him, but like he's not in the movie a lot, which is kind of, I don't know if it's the same thing with all Ghostbusters movie, but it's the same thing with Afterlife. The difference is the time in between Afterlife, like from the beginning to when the actual big demon appears. I like the story. They move to a new town in the middle of goddamn nowhere. I like their story. Getting the fit in, I liked it a lot more than the Frozen Empire story. Most of them are just, oh, I gotta go deal with this fat green thing because I'm an adult, which, don't get me wrong, is good, but it's just there for comic relief, which is kind of funny. A little, not too much, but whatever. And the other one, obviously, being Phoebe and all that stuff. It's alright. The story from the beginning to the actual release of the Frost Demon, it's alright. Afterlife does it better, but the Frozen Empire is definitely funnier, I'll tell you that. So, that's basically the plot. Phoebe causes the near destruction of Manhattan and the entire world, and they're like, oh, if it wasn't for, because the mayor hates the Ghostbusters, obviously, because they're destroying buildings, and like, I don't think they have insurance, and I don't think anyone wants to insure them, because what the hell? You're going to have to pay out things like every other week, or even every week, right? But the whole thing is like, oh, if it wasn't for Phoebe, we would all be frozen solid. If it wasn't for Phoebe, the goddamn Frost Demon wouldn't have appeared. What's wrong with her? They're like, oh, we're sorry. Bro, she nearly caused the destruction of the entire world. You guys are lucky that you even found the Flame Master. Or even if you could really find him again. Because, obviously, if he was just out of town for that weekend, yeah, it would have been over. They would have been destroyed because the Fire Master was out of town visiting his grandma or something. Yeah, they're lucky that the Fire Master was there because he was literally the only reason why they even won. Because even though he is a rookie, he has the unextinguishable flame, like they said, from Legend, right? But anyways, good movie. A decent, story in between it. Don't get me wrong. It was alright. There's not a lot of emotional beats to it. I mean, you do get the ghost story, which, don't get me wrong, is good. But it's also like, it's alright. I'm just going to say that. It's alright. The whole, I don't know what to do. Like, oh, you need to let go. Or something like that, right? There's weird tension between them. Like I said, they just stare at each other for every once in a while. It's like, bro, did you really need to keep it in the movie like 5 times? But whatever, right? So awkward. Oh, it's awkward. Which, don't get me wrong, they did capture the awkwardness of conversation with a new person. They captured it 100%, but I don't think they had to keep it for the entire duration of their story. But whatever, right? So she gets tricked and all that stuff. They trap him, and the day is saved. It's a good movie. Very funny. That's all I'm gonna say. This movie's main point is that it's funny as hell. It's mostly by this guy, but good thing he appears a lot in the movie, especially in the second half. Very nice. Everyone else is alright. Paul Rudd, he just does Paul Rudd things. Me personally, I'm not too big fan of him. But Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, pretty good watch. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's alright. It's definitely better than average, but there's really no wow factor to it, But then again, it's Ghostbusters. Good movie. Even though I said recommend watching it, 7 out of 10 probably not recommend watching, but it's a recommend watch, especially on Discount Tuesdays. I'm telling you, I have to keep telling y'all, Discount Tuesday is your best friend. Oh, I want to watch this movie, but it might not be, but I don't want to spend that much money. Discount Tuesdays will be your friend. Anyways, hope you enjoy this video. I'm still working on the Yu-Gi-Oh video. I gave up actually halfway through because I got a new setup, so hopefully I get it done, but whatever. Like I said, hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.